Well, what could be more Dutch than that? Bikes padlocked to a bridge of water underneath. What a Dutch scene that is. And you could go to nearly any city in the Netherlands and you're going to see something similar to that. It's beautiful, isn't it? And the Dutch are absolute genius at handling water. I mean, they have to be really, because a large part of their landmass is reclaimed from the sea or from marshes or lakes. And they've really refined the art of keeping water where they want it and keeping it away from where they don't want it. And it does give a really tranquil feel. The turning leaves of the autumn and the still waters, it's just beautiful. And I'm really very, very close to the heart of Rotterdam here, so I'm certainly not out in the sticks in any way at all. But it just brings this nice, peaceful feeling to the whole place. Talking about peace and water being combined. You know, in Luke chapter 8, we get the story where Jesus and his disciples are in a boat on the Sea of Galilee. And a storm whips up, which it's prone to do there. They get these violent storms. I mean, really significant waves. It can be a life-threatening situation. Now, bearing in mind, though, that all the disciples are fishermen pretty much, or the vast majority of them are, actually. Not all of them, but most of them. But Jesus is the one person in the boat who is neither a fisherman nor an expert boat handler, as far as we know. And yet everybody turns to him and says, what should we do, basically? Because he was the authority figure in that group. So these experienced fishermen are worried for their lives, and they turn to a carpenter and say, what should we do? And his reaction is kind of interesting, because he says, you have little faith. Or in other words, why didn't you do something about this? Why do you need me to sort this out when you could do it yourselves? But then the next thing he does is really, really interesting, because he just turns to the storm and rebukes it. In another version of the same story, we hear that he says, peace, be still. And there is peace, and the sea is still. Now, in that situation, apart from panicking, I would have started praying. I would be asking God if he would deliver us, if he could help us, if he could do something about it. But Jesus doesn't. He just operates from the authority that he has, and he tells the wind and the waves to calm down, and they do calm down. Because he doesn't need to ask God the Father, because God the Father has already given him a sphere of authority which includes the winds and the waves. So he doesn't waste time praying or asking, he just gets on and does what needs to be done. And that's the thing with authority. As we get clearer and clearer what authority we have been given, what authority we haven't been given, then we can just speak the word based on the authority that we have. There may be other times where we need to pray because we need something that's not in our sphere of authority, so by all means, let's pray. But I think we waste time sometimes as Christians asking God if he will do something when he's basically saying, but I've given you authority over this, why don't you do something? And I think that's why it's so important that we understand this concept of authority, and then even more importantly, we start to operate in the authority that we've been given.